right, welcome to Primos for Life, the wrestling podcast made for the fans, by the fans. Como siempre, yo soy Eddie, el niño Baque. We got Ariel, the Ecuadorian Dream Bisueta, and we are your self-proclaimed, undisputed co-host tag team champions of the world. And tonight's episode, we're going to call this one Smackdown to Smackdown. And we're going to jump into the March 7th edition of Smackdown. Then we hop on over to March 8th and go over AEW Revolution. Then we discuss Monday Night Raw on March 10th at Madison Square Garden. Then NXT Roadblock on the 11th, also at MSG. We kind of glaze over AEW Dynamite since so much happened at AEW Revolution, and we touch on TNA Sacrifice in El Paso, Texas on the 13th, and finally, the Barcelona edition of Smackdown on March 14th. So como siempre, sit back, grab a snack, and let's get it on.
Y como va, mi primo? What's up, bro?
What's going on, dude? How are you?
Good, man. Good.
I know you were going to keep going. That's why I froze for a second. I was like, hey. Let me see where it's
No.
going.
I don't want to, because then I got to do a whole performance. It's too much. It's too much right now.
Comes like a whole to-do and everything. We have a lot to get into.
So much, bro. So basically, so our listeners are aware, we are going to do just a quick recap. Well, not really quick. We're going to go into a lot of it, but basically we're going to go from SmackDown to SmackDown. You know, last week's SmackDown to this past Friday's SmackDown.
Right, the 7th to the 14th.
Yeah. So, you want to get the ball rolling? You want to start with SmackDown on 3/7?
No, I'll let you roll. I remember this one I got to not too long ago. I remember the opener. It was Orton came out.
Right.
All right. So he came out. He called out Kevin Owens. I've only had a couple friends there. Kevin Owens was one of them. Well, first he threw a little dig at Cena.
Yeah.
And started to get into the Kevin Owens aspect, and I'll let you roll from there.
Okay. So, because I wrote a lot of notes, right? So basically, you're right. Randy opens up the show, cuts a promo on Kevin Owens, digs at Cena, like you said. We get a non-title match between Tiffany and Piper. Obviously, Tiffany's going to get that win. Nothing extravagant there. It was a good match. I believe Charlotte had a part to play in that, because they've been going back and forth since.
That was the one two weeks ago. Because I remember the other one. There was another one where. Oh no, that was when Chelsea Green was fighting. Sorry, continue. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that was the other SmackDown.
Yeah.
And then there was the number one contenders match for the tag teams, right? So that was between Pretty Deadly, Los Garzas, and Motor City Machine Guns. And then ultimately, Pretty Deadly ends up being the number one contender.
Pretty Deadly won. Yeah, it was like, well, I mean, these guys have been around for a while. They've had them up there for a minute and haven't really given them anything. So I think it's time. And the way they have all these tag teams just going, crazy right now. And she brought it up the other day that she wants to see this tag division increase. And right now, it's really, really fun. It's really a good time. So I thought it was a good match, fun match, and like the outcome. So I was like, yeah, Pretty Deadly. Let's push them along and see what they can do.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you're right. I agree. Because they have been getting that slight push, but then obviously with everything that's transpired up to this past Friday SmackDown, we could understand why so many pieces are moving, but we also don't know why all these pieces are moving. But I think that's what makes it all overall interesting. And obviously we're going to get into that as we continue, recapping everything else. But as we continue in the night, the Bianca, Naomi, and Jade segment happens. Bianca comes out. Naomi's like, I did it for you.
First Bianca was like, did you do it? And she was just like, you need to focus on everything else. And And we were like, nah, I need to know. I was like, okay, we're getting a little overacting here, but I dig it. Let's give the superstars the time to get their segment out. And then that's when Naomi finally turned. I was like, yeah, I do.
Yeah. And then Jade comes out of that giant Escalade, walks out, starts throwing, actually looks at Bianca like, do I have the okay? And she's like, do what you got to
She gave
do.
the
And
nod.
then
She gave the nod. She's like, go ahead, go.
yeah. So I was digging that. I definitely like that segment. I saw a meme during the week that was like, yo, Triple H is going for that BET like drama award, because what a segment with these beautiful ladies that really, representing the culture, and it's wild.
Great segment. Great segment. I think they're pushing everything along well. I was glad, like, 'cause I thought it was gonna go for a while, because she was like, when she asked her on this past Smackdown, did you see that it was her? She's like, I saw her walking away. So that kind of sealed the Bianca aspect of being involved. But sorry, let's go back to the last one.
No, but like, let's touch on that real quick, which okay. I'm still not convinced. I'm still like, I feel like we're going to get revealed, because I don't know how they're going to swing this, but I feel like she thinks it was Naomi, because there had to have been an article or something that like implicates Naomi. But I still think like Bianca maybe like had her glow jacket or something. And we truly totally find out that like it was really.
She says she saw Naomi walking away. That's totally possible. That turn could still happen, because it's Hunter, and who knows? Everything is up in the air when it comes to him and everything. So yeah, I don't know. Right. I see what you're saying.
The only way where I think it wouldn't work is because Naomi's already openly admitted that she did it. So it's like,
right.
So it's kind of like, okay, how do you come back from that?
Were working together on it. It's like a plan, and like she'll turn and help Naomi at some point or something like that. Like,
yeah. So. Yeah, man, that's a tricky one. All right, and then I believe the next match was going to be Braun Strowman, Solo Sikoa, right? Braun wins via DQ. Man, they're really building up this Braun and Jacob Fatu beef, because obviously,
which I mean, I like Jacob Fatu. I want to see him, utilized and pushed and everything. Braun Strowman, I'm just like, all right, we're. I get it, and nothing against Braun Strowman, but I'm just like, okay, I get it. Big dude, yeah. Like, monster of the monsters now, or whatever they changed it to.
Yeah, I think it's like giant SOB now. I think that's what it is. Or
Jesus, okay.
And then obviously we got the women's United States Championship street fight, Chelsea Green versus Michin. That was okay. I liked the street fight aspect. I think it was a little different.
Well, I like Chelsea Green came out in the Cactus Jack ensemble.
Right. That was pretty cool. I definitely like that.
But that was also, the end of that match was the return of Alba Fire.
Yeah.
Because
that's right.
When Michin was about to pin Chelsea Green, hoodie person came out, smacked her around, beat her, and then we found out it was Alba Fire. So she's part of the new, I think, Secret Service, Hervis, if I remember correctly, yeah. So I think that's, I mean, hey man, they had to do something with her, because they let Isla Dawn go, so they got to do something with Alba Fire. So I think they're going to now pair these three when it's like a stable.
Yeah. So my thing is like, I've noticed in all of the content that I've watched this week, they're doing a lot of this, right? They're doing a lot of like in crowd run-ins, right? Because that happened. It also happened at MSG. Right. And then also happens at AEW's Revolution, which we'll get into. But I'm noticing a trend where it's like, it's either a lot of run-ins or a lot of security breakup. Like that seems to be the flavor of like the month. Every moment you look, because it happens on the Barcelona Smackdown, it happens in AEW, and it's just, I'm just like, wow.
Okay. Like we got to keep them apart. Okay.
Yeah. Like, oh no, like, for their own safety, you got to keep them apart.
But like other stuff happens in the match and stuff, and Noah comes flying down.
Right,
so happens,
exactly.
These points at the storyline. It's like, okay, got it. No, great, get it done. But yeah, no, you're right. I noticed that too. I'm like, a lot of that, a lot of like surprise returns, a lot of like stuff like that. Yeah, which keep people on their toes and also kind of be able to drag the storyline out a little longer.
Yeah, for sure. The next segment, Cody comes out, calls out Cena. He's like, I used to drive you around, and for you to do this, boo-hoo, ha-ha, I'm here waiting for you, and, you ain't showing up. So good segment. I mean, it's always good to see Cody.
Absolutely. I'm a Cody guy, so I'm down with it. Thought it was good. Yeah. Called him out. Cena wasn't there. Great.
Yeah.
Play along. Yeah. We got 40-something days till WrestleMania. So at that point we did. Now I think we're...
Yeah. No complaints on the segment,
No, perfectly fine.
Then jumping into the next was Drew McIntyre versus Jimmy Uso. The winner is Drew.
Yeah, he'd taken a couple of L's, so they had to establish him again.
Yeah.
Hey, but I mean, I'm waiting to see what happens with Jimmy when they start trying to move him along too, if they do. But he's had a couple wins leading up to this, and then this, take an L here. It's not bad. I mean, it's Drew McIntyre, so if you're gonna take an L, that's someone to take an L to.
Yeah. But I don't know. To be honest with you, because he was out of the picture for some bit, probably due to injury or storyline, while Jay was getting his push, and then obviously ultimately leading up to him winning the Rumble, I kind of feel like, we don't really need the other twin to kind of try to get some of the spotlight too. Like, I know he's trying to find his way to WrestleMania,
right.
But it's like, nah, bro, let your bro have his moment, and then.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm just saying they're going to try and work him along as well at some point. Like, they're going to try. So I'm just waiting to see how, because I mean, it's got to be a slow build. You can't just start thrusting him into stuff. So you have to start working him out and everything. So like I said, I'm interested to see how they go about doing it.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, but it's one of those things that as I was reflecting on everything that I've watched, I'm like, especially with everything that transpired on the Barcelona Smackdown, I'm like, yeah, like they're really trying to do something with Jimmy right now. And I get it, but just let Jay get this moment in the sun for now.
Yeah.
But then the final match of the night of that Smackdown in Philly, right? Because it was the street fight the girls had was a Philly street fight.
Because Mishin had the Eagles jersey.
Yeah. The match of the night was the United States Championship, Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight. Yeah. And this is the start of a chain reaction of championship changes, because this is, and it's funny because Brianna did say, like, there is a huge possibility that the U.S. title was going to switch hands.
Yeah.
And it ended up happening. So shout outs to her for knowing that was coming.
I mean, I feel like it was Hunter put it on Shinsuke to see what he could do with him. And I don't know if it's gone the way he wanted it to. LA Knight is still a bigger draw and a bigger pop. So I think that's why he did that. But it's a shame because I like Shinsuke a lot. I really like Shinsuke. And I would like to see him get a lot more airtime and runs with a belt because he's awesome.
Yeah, no, I was down with his new gimmick and like, the kind of like the zombie samurai like thing going, and like obviously he was a heel, but yeah, I don't know, it was almost like he was just coasting. He could have done so much more with it, but yeah, you're right. It just seems like it didn't go as planned, and they just, instead of losing momentum heading towards WrestleMania, they were like, let's just switch it out and then figure something out going forward. Yeah, but that concludes SmackDown. So that was on 3/7.
One thing I did want to say about that SmackDown also that we didn't touch on, when they did the triple threat tag match. At the end, you saw some dissension in Legado del Fantasma because he was, what's his name? Santos was yelling at Berto and Garza. And he was like, this has to change, whatever. Angel said it to him also. And then Andrade shows up. And he's like, hey, why you take that? That's a little dissension starting to build in Legado del Fantasma. So I just wanted to touch on that too real fast before we...
No, you're right. I totally forgot about that. But you know what? It's funny. I'm glad you brought that up because that's the one thing that I wish like kind of WWE would kind of step away from is like you kind of keep the cultural talent in the same pool. So it's like, the luchadors always fight the luchadors and like the Latinos always fight the Latinos. And it's like, okay, cool. But like, we don't always got to be beefing with ourselves, and
you got to switch it up.
Like switch it up,
Of course.
But yeah, no, you're right. Good call out on that one. But before we move on, was there anything else on that SmackDown that I missed?
That I can think of, nothing of vast, major, like where I was like, oh shit, like. So,
yeah.
I mean, I figured some of these SmackDowns and Raws between here and Mania are going to be build and just extra storytelling and stuff like that. So they're not all going to be knocked out of the park. But overall, solid episode, especially with the championship change and naming your number one contenders for the belt.
Yeah. I think what I like, especially going into the next few WWE episodes, I feel like slowly but surely we're creating some type of path heading into WrestleMania, and it's still up in the air, and we still know what the final card is going to be. Obviously, for the main cards, sure, but like all the other matches, it's like we're kind of getting there, but we could still get swerved at the end. But overall, I like the pace that we're going.
Yeah. Because I mean, you're getting time to build the story and put different angles in, and like that's what it is. It's storytelling. So it's the art of storytelling. They're doing a great job, especially with the time frame that they have, between PLEs.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, on that note, you said a key word there, to segue into the aspect of storytelling. So Will Ospreay just did an interview with CVV. Shout out to CVV, right? And he said something that really stuck out to me, and I felt like I saw it this week in all the content of wrestling that we were able to watch. But Will Ospreay in his interview said that, because they were asking him like, oh yeah, when you had a choice, did you get an offer from both sides? And meaning like WWE and AEW. And he was like, oh yeah, I got an offer. And, obviously he went with AEW. The follow-up question was like, well, do you agree that WWE is like, the better place or something along the lines of that? And Will Ospreay said this, and I love this. He said, yeah, WWE is the best in sports entertainment and storytelling, right? He says, but ultimately the reason why he chose AEW was because they're mostly known for their wrestling. And at first I didn't like kind of get that, because I was like, well, both companies do wrestling. Like, what are you talking about? But after watching AEW's Revolution, I understand what he means by that statement. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, yeah, it's, I was going to say when you said it, like, yeah, it's, I could see exactly what he's talking about. Like, your storytelling is much grander and better in WWE, of course, but there's some phenomenal wrestling talent, in-ring talent in AEW, that is, Kenny Omega, the Bucks, Ospreay, all these cats. Like, so I think, I know what he's saying. I'm glad that you picked up on it. So tell me about, because I didn't watch Revolution. So do you want to get into that, or do you want to do?
No, we're going to get into it, because I'm going to prove his point. And then I'm going to I think we finally solved the mystery of why I am not that attracted to AEW as much as I am WWE.
Okay.
And the reason for it, man, it's because there's just too much going on. Sometimes too much is too much.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot coming at you.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I finally understand like why Triple H now has changed the format of like PLEs to like 8 to 10 matches down to like 4 or 5, because a Revolution, and don't get me wrong, it was fantastic. Each match got better and better and surpassed each other, but at the same time, there were a lot of repeat moments in different matches, which I'll get into. But then also, just like you said, there's just a lot coming at you. And of course, if that's what you want in a product, absolutely, then I get it. Please go to their shows. You know what I mean? But to sit there and watch almost 4 hours of nonstop wrestling, and ultimately
4 hours,
almost like 10 matches with the pre-show, right? 10 matches, right? And I'm going to run through them really quickly, because I just want to get to the ones that really stuck out to me. Right, exactly. So the main show, the main card, Hangman versus MJF. What a match, bro. What a match. I've always been an MJF guy, but I have never been Adam Page dude.
Right.
And that match made me understand why he is where he is, because the way that they went at each other, the moves that they were like, and this is the part where where you said it was like too much. At one point, they did like a kind of like a penta driver on a chair on the outside, and Hangman just like landed on the chair and just like stood there, and it was crazy. It was scary, actually. It was like wild, but they were going hit for hit, and it was nonstop, but very, very nicely done. Very awesome match. But again, it was a lot. I mean, to have that match, it basically opened up the show and then, set the bar, because it only gets more intense as it goes, right? So then, so obviously Hangman wins that one via pinfall. Then we get, I say Sasha Banks, but it's Mercedes Moné.
Mm-hmm.
She beats her opponent. That one was okay. They had some good spots in the match. That one was really good. I personally feel like Mercedes has kind of maybe lost it a little compared to like her NXT days and even her main roster days at WWE.
Right.
But overall, like on a professional level, obviously she was able to deliver, but I maybe wanted more, or maybe expected a little bit more from her. So maybe I'm unfairly judging her, but it was a good match.
Well, I mean,
Not the
she's
best match
also
of the
a
night.
couple years removed from those days, so that's
Right.
also going to change some stuff. But yeah,
Right.
all
Right. So
okay, so then, so she won.
yeah. So she won. Next match is Swerve versus Ricochet. What a match, bro. They
Yeah,
went.
I'm sure this was good. This one is something I want to go back and watch. I'll go watch this match definitely, because these two both guys are great. I love Swerve.
No. When I tell you, it was like, I think what I also appreciate about like AEW wrestling is like the hits and the moves feel heavier. So as you know, anytime they accomplish a move, or you know, they have them on the turnbuckle and they're hitting each other or whatever the case is, it just seems heavy. It just seems harder. So really good match. But that's my point, right? By this point in these three matches, it's already been like almost an hour and a half into the event. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I'm just because they figure, you know, all these quick hits is kind of like designed for like ADD, like this story, but it's 4 hours long. So is it really designed? Like, come on, like. All right, so I'm sorry. Go ahead. Next one.
No. You're good. Next one was AEW Continental Championship match. That was Okada versus Brody King. Another banger. That big guy could move. He you know, and Okada is Okada. I mean, the guy's a true entertainer, and you know, a prize from New Japan. So really fantastic match. Okada wins that one. Then the next match is the AEW International Championship. That was the Kenny Omega match, which he ends up winning. And that he's become the first AEW wrestler to be able to obtain pretty much all championships, right? Because he had the heavyweight title. Now he's got that
one.
The
Grand Slam.
Right. He had the trios and the tag. Right. With Hangman. So yeah, another solid match, but that's what I expect from Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega could perform, and yeah, man, it was really solid. But again, this point, we're like 2.5 hours in, 2 hours in.
I do.
Now, here's the match, bro. The Will Ospreay Kyle Fletcher match in the steel cage.
Yeah. Really?
Bro, when I tell you,
so I guess we're gonna watch this one too. All right.
When I tell you, it was brutal to watch, but so good. Like, so here's what I'm gonna call out, right? Obviously, they do a Spanish fly off the top of the cage. Wild. Like the way Fletcher's body hit the canvas, you know what it reminded me of? Remember that movie Ready to Rumble, and when DDP falls through all three cages?
I didn't see Ready to Rumble.
Okay, well, you have some homework to do, bro. That movie's fantastic.
I watched David Arquette. No.
Yeah, but it was a WCW movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's when WCW went to crap, and they put the belt on Arquette, and I'm just like, this is no,
okay,
absolutely
okay,
not.
Fair enough. No, but there's a scene where they have like a triple stack like cage match. You have to get all the way to the third cage to get the belt. So at that point, both DDP and the King, the character, the King, they're on top of the cage, and he flips him off the cage, and he falls through all the way down to the first cage into the mat, and his body just slams lifeless on the canvas. That's the way Fletcher's body hit in this match. It was scary. Now, the other thing that they did, which they kind of also did kind of differently, but it's the same spot, so it's like we didn't have to see it twice in a pay-per-view, but they pulled out the thumbtacks, and when and mind you, Fletcher's just wearing like Ricochet shorts, so he's fully exposed. And he landed on the front, not even on his back. He landed on the front side. So it was brutal. It was a lot of unnecessary like gruesomeness, but hey, I'm getting
the chills just by you saying it. Like I'm rubbing my chest. Like, are you?
Yeah. No, it was good. Yeah. So that was wild. Obviously, Will Ospreay wins that one because crazy. Then we got the AEW tag team match, Hurts and the Kid versus the Outrunners. That was the group that I was telling you about the other day. That they're like this. Their gimmick is like they're from the '80s, so everything's like, oh yeah, you know, they're like that kind of dude. But bro, awesome. I like their gimmick. They had a really good match. What I really liked about this match is going back to like the heavy hitting and the heavy power slamming. Sheldon Benjamin and Bobby Lashley are just so destructive. They make everything look like it really, really hurts.
Nice. It's a 3-match song I gotta watch, obviously. I mean,
their song is a banger. You know, we hurt people, like banger, bro, banger.
All right. Okay.
But good match. Good, like, standard match. Like, no craziness. Good standard match.
But still just an impressive match.
Yes. All right. Now, Falls Count Anywhere, Timeless Tony Storm versus Mariah May. Now, when you want to, like, this was the equivalent of, like, an old school Cactus Jack hardcore match. When I tell you both these women's faces were crimson red.
I saw a picture of Tony Storm on like Facebook or something where I was just like, oh, damn, what happened here? Like,
it was, again, gruesome. When I'm talking like stiletto heel to the forehead, blast. So here's the same spot that happened in the cage match that I was like, this wasn't really necessary. We didn't have to see it twice. So they did something similar, but not with thumbtacks, with broken glass. They did it with broken glass.
Genius. Great idea.
Yeah. So, again, really gruesome, but in the interest of longevity and like not overdoing a spot, I felt like, hey, maybe we should have saved that for another time, or let the ladies have it. Osprey and Fletcher didn't have to do it. You know what I mean? Like one or the other. You know what I'm saying? But before we move on, going back to spots, that chair move from the Hangman MJF, that also happened in the Swerve Ricochet match, and it happened in another match too, which I can't recall right now. So it's like a lot of similar spots,
right?
But once a pay-per-view, bro, we don't need 3-4 times.
You don't need to keep doing that over and over, especially if you're showing. Well, I mean, when you're throwing 10 matches out as you have, you're gonna have similar spots or same spots, and feel. You'd have to imagine.
Yeah. So that Tony retains. Fantastic match. Like, they really left it all out there, and it was gruesome to watch, but it was also like, it did bring me to like kind of like Attitude Era days where it's like, yeah, no, you want to see hardcore, this is hardcore. You know what I mean? So it was good. Final match of the night, you got Moxley versus Adam Copeland. And what happens here is they go through a whole match, and then Christian has this like Money in the Bank equivalent contract kind of situation.
Right.
So he comes out in the hooded thing. So back to the hooded figure thing, comes out of nowhere. He was like, I want to join the match. The ref puts him in the match. Now it's a triple threat, and he ends up losing, and Moxley ends up retaining. So here's what I didn't like about this match. I felt like the ending was very lackluster in that sense. It was like, why waste an opportunity like that?
That's what I don't like to hear. There is a wasted opportunity, because it's not even like you Money in the Bank where you cash it in whenever, and it was like the middle of the match and he took advantage of it. He's like, no, I want in on the match.
Yeah, no. So that was aggravating. And then I think, to be honest with you, I think maybe because all three of them are ex-WWE guys, I'm just like, this didn't have to be the main event. Like, Tony Storm should have been the main event. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know she's ex-WWE also, but I'm saying, like, she solidified herself in AEW as Timeless Tony Storm. So I feel like that should have been the main event. The second to last match should have been Osprey and Fletcher, and then the match before that should have been these guys. But you know me, I'm over the legends. Please just take a break. Let the future have their moment. You shouldn't have been the main event. I'm Moxley. He's still relatively young, so I'll give him that.
Well,
but
it's
like
Moxley. They love Moxley. Moxley's their golden boy. So
but overall, man, I mean, if you have some time to break it up during the week, watch it, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we get finished taping, I'll have a little bit before the wife gets home, so I get through a match or two.
Yeah, for real. Fantastic. Okay, now we're moving on to Monday Night Raw from March 10th. This past Monday, yeah. All right, you want to go for it?
Yeah, let's open up with A-Town Down Under coming out, because Grayson Waller will be taking on Jey Uso, Mr. Main Event. Yeet. Solid match, some good spots. Of course, Austin Theory gets involved. Jey Uso is able to fight him off, take them both down, get the win, and then from out of nowhere, a hooded figure emerges to choke out Jey Uso, as it is Gunther. No, was he wearing a hood? I remember he just came out and just like jumped him.
Yeah.
But he choked him out and left him with the lifeless on the mat.
Yeah.
So, I think once again, great. Uso gets a win. So credibility not taken away. Gunther still looks dominant, and the heat between them still exists and just gets further ignited. So I'm good with this.
Yeah, me too. Good build up. Again, going back to my previous comment of like everything's going at a good pace. So I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all.
No, not mad. So good way to open it up. I was content with it. I'm like, great. All right, let's roll on. Let's see what's going on next.
Yeah. And then we had New Day versus LWO.
This was what when I heard this match was happening last week. I was like, oh well, this I'm sitting down for the entire time. Like I have to, because I love the New Day, and I mean it's the LWO, and I love a good Texas Tornado match. They don't do them as much as they like back in the '80s. The Texas Tornado match, it was a special thing too. It was like, and I used to love it because it's like, yeah, man, all four of them, they're just beating the hell out of each other. Let's go. So I was glad that they had the Tornado match. They took out Texas, but the Tornado match was good. And I think these four are great to do it because for amazing athletes who can all, just hustle around that ring and sell and flip and fly and do all sorts of stuff. And I thought it was a really, really great match. I enjoyed it. And I love seeing Kofi and Xavier come out as heels and just kind of, like they were like, we want tables, we want tables. They were saying that, Xavier was saying that to the crowd to get them to chant it. And then when they did, he took the table halfway out and slid it back under. Like, I'm not giving you what you want. I'm like, this is genius. This is why I love these guys. So, great match. And I'll let you take in what happens towards the end.
We had a masked assailant come out at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because, like, I mean, we all know it was Chad Gable, right? I mean,
well, when you say masked assailant, let's let the listeners know, for anyone who wasn't able to watch, he was wearing a luchador mask. So you say masked assailant, he was wearing a luchador mask, and on the front of the luchador mask, where Ray usually has the cross and right in the center of the forehead, there was American made.
Yeah.
So, and it looked exactly like Gable when he was doing all his moves and everything.
Yeah.
So you're just like, come on, man. Chad Gable.
Yeah, come on.
Chad Gable. But fast forward.
Yep.
To later on in the back, where he's now being interviewed by Kathy Kelly, and she's just adamant. She's like, we know it was you. And he's like, no, it wasn't me. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. She's like, we know it was you. Very adamant about it. And the whole time he's blaming New York security. New York security's terrible. I can't believe they allowed someone to come out and do this and blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you look like right over his shoulder, and in the back, you see 3 security guards with a masked, American-made masked guy wearing the same exact outfit that Gable had on, because that's what Kathy Kelly said. She's like, you're wearing the same thing, my man. Like, come on. Mm-hmm. And they took him away with his mask on, and he was like, yeah, see, security here is terrible. And he just walked away. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes.
Yeah. No, I was down with it. I'm actually more excited to see like what kind of luchador moves he picked up now that he's back, right? Because that was his whole purpose of the mission. No, but overall, good match, good segment. Obviously, we fast forward to there. Then I believe the next match was Raquel Rodriguez and Bailey for a number 1 contendership for the IC Women's, right? So I got to be honest here. I'm really not a Raquel Rodriguez person. I mean, she definitely was a lot better in NXT when she was coming up. Maybe she was a little bit more hungry. But now that she's on the main roster, I don't know. I felt like maybe that match was a little too sloppy. I don't want to necessarily blame Bailey because I feel like she's a true pro in the sense. So I don't think, if there were any issues, I'm pretty sure she would be able to hide it or fix it, without us knowing. But it was just something about Raquel, man. I don't know. I don't know if it's her outfit. I don't know if it's her way she moves in the ring or I don't know. But I'm okay with seeing less of her in the ring.
I mean, she's big, she's tall, so she's just a big woman, so she doesn't have the grace yet, I think, of like a Rhea Ripley, who's also big and tall, but she really seems to move smoother and quicker, and so I think that stiffness kind of hurts her a little bit and makes it look a little sloppier to you or just whatever. Like, it just doesn't move fluidly. So yes, I think I agree. I'm not a Raquel Rodriguez fan, but it's nice to see them starting to use her, pushing her around a little bit. Nice to see Bailey put her over to give her a chance to get involved in the Intercontinental match and try and put on a good show.
Yeah. But overall, it was okay. Obviously, the moment that we were all really waiting for was Rollins versus Punk in the steel cage match. Obviously, yeah. So here's the thing, right? If you go apples for apples and you compare like the cage match on Saturday, with Ospreay and Fletcher, right? It's like 2 different sides of the spectrum, but they were both equally entertaining and really good. You know what I mean? Like, this cage match, it felt like a classic. It felt like an instant classic in the way that Rollins and Punk were, working each other in the ring. And I liked the pace of the match. I like, I liked it all. And then obviously getting closer to the end of the match, for some reason, the door is wide open. Because whatever happened to like the door being open for like 5 seconds and then they closing it?
Well, they used to be a lot quicker about it if no one makes it for the door there. But I think the point here was them just selling the fact that these two just want to hurt each other and not win the match. So leaving the door open was just like, leave it open. Because if someone wants to walk out, then they're the punk in this match. Punk, not literally, you know what I'm saying? But like, so I think that's why they did it, was to also kind of sell that story of like, this is about the match that's happening inside the ring and the hatred between these two guys. So leaving that thing open was just like, it doesn't, because at one point they both were like, hey, let's look out and you're trying to get out the door if you want. If you want out, get out.
Yeah. No, but overall, really good. Then another moment where somebody comes out the crowd. I mean, he wasn't hooded this time. We clearly saw it was our only tribal chief, Roman Reigns, yanking Rollins by his hair out the door, outside of the cage, into the mat.
Onto the floor.
Yeah, wild. I really liked how this was done. I also feel like because Punk won the last time that him and Rollins met, I felt like this was a good way to protect him, right? Because technically he didn't he lost, but he didn't lose because he got yanked out.
He got screwed. He's going to use the angle of he got screwed, this was perfect for exactly what I was talking about in previous episodes, where I'm like, you can set up for a triple threat match with these three at Mania. Because now what happened is you have Reigns pulling Rollins out by his hair. So now Rollins is going to be focused on Reigns, like you came after me, whatever, and then this is where maybe Punk now can use the, hey, Heyman, I want in on that WrestleMania match. Let's make it a triple threat.
Yeah.
I think you can then, not to cut you off, but as they, when Reigns pulled him out and the match was called and he's outside just beating Seth Rollins, he stomped him, he gave him a stomp, and then he's going to do it again on the metal stairs, but here comes Nick Aldis and all of the people from the back to stop him and save Seth Rollins. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. No. Jason Jordan is here again. Jason Jordan's mad TV time, I'm telling you, man. But yeah, so to your point before, that this is something that has been happening a lot of. Yes. Yeah, they came out to protect Seth Rollins. So it's like,
and then the cherry on top that I believe we didn't get to see was while Roman is outside looking around, Mr. Paul Heyman is inside the cage checking on CM Punk.
The wise man. Yeah, he's checking on Punk. He's like cradling him in his arms. Yeah. So it was very like tender. I was like, ooh, this is a loving moment here. And yeah, Roman was not having it.
Yeah. Before we actually move on, I totally forgot. There were 3 segments in that Raw that we missed, right? The Logan Paul promo, right? Which I didn't like his part in it, but I like what happened with that comedian. Yeah. I forget his name.
Yeah. Andrew Schultz.
There you go, Andrew Schultz. Yeah. He's that whole bit was awesome, and then I love that AJ Styles came out. I really do hope we get like a Paul AJ Styles match somewhere.
Well, there's probably gonna be a Mania match. This is all building to Mania, so these are. Because Paul Styles at Mania is going to be a hell of a match.
Yeah.
And without any PLEs between here and there.
Right. Yeah. No.
You don't really have much space because they're not going to want to put that on a Raw or SmackDown. But they might. But you can say that and you can just build it.
Yeah. No. I like where that's going. I like that whole segment. I thought it was really good. Then we got the Bianca Rhea Io face off, which. I didn't like that they disrespected Io like that, man. Like, they just like mushed her twice.
They mushed her twice. 2 mushes.
And I would have been like, honestly, if I were Io, I would have whipped that belt around and I would be like, who you messing with? Like, I'm the champ.
I mean, she ended up coming around, smacking them both down, tossing them around, walking out with the belt. So she got the last laugh because she did get a couple shots at the end there. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of the mush there either. But it was a good way to build animosity and now try and, because I also said this could be a possible triple threat going into Mania 2 is these 3 for the women's belt. So yeah, I think this is another great way to build. But yeah, I definitely wasn't a fan of Io getting mushed twice. I was like, no, man, cool.
Yeah, put some respect on her name, please.
That's right.
Yeah. And then the other segment, Cody comes out searching for John again. We get it. you're mad. We understand, brother.
You're looking. Yeah, no.
But
Fine. Great.
just keep coming to every show and then keep calling him out, and then
face of
he'll
the
show
company.
up eventually.
You gotta give him a couple minutes, let everyone go, whoa.
Yeah. That's what I heard online, that they're like, that people are like, I'm over Cody. He's just an entrance at this point.
I mean,
like, how dare you say that?
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, no, I love the whoa.
Yeah, man. Shit.
Adrenaline in my soul. You know what I mean?
Apollo, whenever I'm watching wrestling, he's like, Dad, is that Cody Rhodes? And I'm like, yeah, wait. Whoa. He's like, yeah, Dad, I like that.
That's awesome. And that's pretty much covers Monday Night Raw at the Garden. Pretty cool stuff. I liked it overall.
And at the Garden. And I was working that night, and I was sitting there, and I worked maybe like 20-something blocks down from the Garden. I was like, when I got off work, I was like, maybe I should hit one of the bars around the Garden and see if anyone comes out. But I was like, nah, I'm just take my ass home and go to bed.
You should have.
I was thinking about it because Amanda wasn't here, but I was, it was at that point, I was long day of work, exhausted. I was like, what?
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I did that once when there was an NXT takeover in Brooklyn.
Yeah, remember you sent me a picture with you and was it Riddle, Matt Riddle?
Yeah, I was with Matt Riddle.
Yeah. I remember.
And that bar was like maybe 5 or 6 blocks away from the Barclays Center. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I trust me, I thought about it hard, but I was like,
okay, so these next two, well, we're gonna call one, because technically Roadblock should have been a pay-per-view, but because it was on the CW just as a normal thing, we're gonna call it a PLE though. We're gonna call it. I know I keep saying pay-per-view, but yeah, we're gonna call it a pay-per-view because what happened?
So we have NXT. Well, we still got like 4 more things. Yeah, 4 more shows.
Yeah. Well, you're right. We got NXT Roadblock, and we don't gotta touch Dynamite. I mean, Revolution was enough.
Yeah. I think Dynamite we can do.
We could do Roadblock and TNA, and then the Barcelona Smackdown. So, all right. So NXT, I'll run through it really quick because here's what I liked about it. I really like what they're doing with this NXT TNA crossover, because we're really getting some fantastic matches. When I tell you that it was the Hardy Boys versus Fraxium, man, did they put on a match, bro. Like, I'm sitting here looking at Matt and Jeff Hardy, and I'm like, how are they still doing the same things that they've been doing for the last 20 years?
Crazy. These guys are monsters.
Wild.
Monsters.
But to go against, like a young team like Fraxium and still be able to keep up and still do high flying stuff, fantastic. And the Hardys retain, right? They're not going to lose their TNA championships. So awesome match. Definitely check that out. Jordan Grace, Roxanne Perez, another banger, really good. They're both really good. I'm a big Jordan Grace fan. I know you're more Roxanne Perez.
I'm a Roxanne Perez guy.
Yeah. But Jordan Grace got the victory. Awesome. Obafemi and Moose, what a banger, bro. When you have these 2 giant dudes just going at it and hit for hit, chop for chop, drop kick for drop kick, it was wow. Like, when I tell you it was a great match, it was a great match. They did not disappoint. This is what I wanted. And going back to the comment, this cross promotional thing is fantastic because it also happens at TNA Sacrifice, which we'll get into in a few. But awesome. Obafemi wins, retains, right? He's not going to lose his NXT title.
Yeah.
We got Javon Evans versus Ethan Page. Javon wins, but what a banger. Those guys, they're really building up an awesome feud, like classics between them two. Really good stuff. And then the match that I was waiting for and that I knew my homie was going to win, Stephanie Vacar versus Julia, title versus title. When I tell you that they both left it on there in the mat, they left it, man. And if the rumors were true about Julia being injured, you wouldn't be able to tell.
You didn't. You didn't notice it. She didn't sell anything, show anything, right?
Yeah. But what a moment, what a match. Great for Stephanie for the win. Shout outs to our Latinos, Latinas, for that, always good. Always, yeah, exactly. Always good to have that representation, especially on the main stage like that. Awesome for her. What a moment to have it in Madison Square Garden. So awesome. Now, really quick, AEW, it was just the aftermath of Revolution. So either storylines continued or new storylines picked up, new challengers made their appearances. Everybody could catch up on that. Nothing drastic happened there. So we could definitely keep that moving. TNA Sacrifice, right? Now, this was awesome because I'm only going to touch the matches that I thought were awesome. We got a street fight between Tessa Blanchard and Li Ying Li, which is formerly, she was in NXT. Now she's in TNA.
Oh, yeah. I forget what her name was in NXT, but yeah, she was good, man. She was really good.
Really good.
I liked it, yeah.
But they put on an awesome match. Blanchard gets the win, so awesome for her. Masha Slamovich versus Cora Jade. Really awesome match. I was shocked. I was surprised, but when you get a chance, really go back and watch it because Masha is something else. She needs to come to NXT real quick, or even attack somebody on the main roster just to have something, because it's wild.
Okay, yeah, I'll give that a watch. All right, great.
Yeah. Now here's a good one. Moose versus Jeff Hardy in a ladders match. And what made this match so crazy was because they were saying Moose doesn't do ladder matches.
Yes.
But you wouldn't be able to tell the way that match ran.
Really?
And then here's what's even more incredible and more props to the Hardys is that the fact that Jeff just did all that on NXT on Tuesday and then flew from New York to El Paso, Texas to do this match. Man, the guy is just getting better with age, bro. He's rocking it, bro.
He's still
and there was crazy moves. He's still doing the Swanton Bomb. A lot of good moments on the ladder, off the ladder. It's awesome. Awesome match. Definitely go check that one out.
All right.
Then we got Mike Santana and Mustafa Ali.
Mustafa Ali.
For number one contendership for, to go against Joe Hendry. Awesome match. Mike Santana comes out in the Eddie Guerrero colors and comes out with a lowrider. Nice tribute to him. Awesome. Nice. Mustafa is doing this presidential candidate gimmick, and it's really good. I like it. He got a whole team with him and stuff. The best call out of the night though, Mike Santana's outside of the ring. He's on the guardrail and he's kind of hurt. Mustafa is about to do a suicide dive, and Santana just catches him, grabs his head, and executes a cutter right there in midair. Awesome. But overall, fantastic match. Those guys could put on a clinic. So that was awesome. And then ultimately we lead up to the 10-man cage match, which
that's a lot of dudes in a cage.
Yeah. But what it was is it basically was their version of War Games. Because even though it was a 10-man tag, 5 against 5, each person would come in after 2 minutes, and then the match didn't start until everybody was in there. So it was Elijah, Joe Hendry, Leon Slater, Matt Hardy, and Nick Nemeth, and they defeated the Colones, which is Eddie and Orlando Colon, and the System, which was Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and JDC. Really good match, really good spots, awesome ending because it left you asking more questions, because at the end, although Matt Hardy got the pin and that team won, once everyone got out of the cage, mind you, Nick Nemeth is on the same team. It was Nick and Hardy in the cage left, and they locked the cage, and they started, him and his brother, because Nick's brother's in the TNA also. I think his name is Brian Nemeth, right? I think that's his name. They both stayed behind and started beating up Matt Hardy. And Joe Hendry and everyone else is trying to get back in the cage, and Nick's brother is trying to shoo everybody off with a chair, and it left you asking questions what's happening? They just won. Why is this happening?
Yeah, why are they beating the hell out of Matt Hardy?
So overall, very entertaining. When I tell you, this week was so full of action-packed wrestling, the fact that it's happening in any promotion is wild.
A lot of good stuff. I mean, everyone's trying to keep up with the Joneses, so put fire out there.
Woo. Okay, and last but not least, the Barcelona Smackdown that happened on the 14th. You wanna get that one rolling?
We start off with 6-man tag match. Bloodline versus Jimmy Uso, Strowman, and La Knight.
La Knight.
So, I mean, this was what you expected. Just faces come over and then beat up on the Bloodline. And had moment for, Strowman and Fatu again and set up everything for this. But solid match overall. Good way to open the show. Once again, they're not all going to be fantastic matches, but solid, fun spots. And and like I said, they're trying to build some stories and get all the guys on the screen that they can. So hence a six-man match.
Yeah.
Because you're in Barcelona, so you want to give them everything. But like you said, you don't want to pepper in too many matches AEW. So this is a good way to get 6 of your guys in on one spot.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. Next segment is who ended up winning that match? It was,
Jimmy, Strowman, and La.
Right. Yeah, to give the faces the win. But the next segment was Jade Cargill, right?
Jade Cargill interview that we kind of touched on earlier.
Right, and then ultimately leading up to her against Liv Morgan next week on Smackdown.
Because
I don't know if you caught this.
Liv and Raquel Rodriguez came popping smack and messing up the interview and everything. I'm like, oh, man, come on.
Bro, okay, my favorite part was like, no, we can make that happen. Liv was like, we can make that happen. Just make sure you don't get pushed on any cars from now till then.
It's like, wow. Ooh, dig.
Yes, huge fan of that. Love that, heelish behavior. So that was really cool.
Always fun.
Then we move on to B-Fab and Charlotte Flair. Yeah, it was a good match.
Charlotte wins. Great.
One thing that I will call out that I did not like at all was, I don't know if you picked this up, but Charlotte Flair does Stephanie Vacar's move where like she takes her legs and flip her over and does that up down move with the knees. And
okay,
I was like, sorry, Charlotte, you are not equipped to do that move at all. Please don't ever do it again.
Stop.
No, don't ever do it again. That's her. That's hers. That's Stephanie's. Leave that alone. I don't care if she's not on the main roster. Nope. I not allowed. I don't like it. Okay, but moving on. Video package, Drew McIntyre. I love this. I loved it because I love, again, going back to the pace, we're setting up such an awesome feud, or a really, storytelling feud between him and Damian, because you forget that all that has happened since, last year's WrestleMania, and just all these little nuggets that have led up to this moment. I love it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
awesome.
No, it's great because like we said before, in one of the quick title changes, it was Priest who took it off McIntyre. Now, mind you, Punk was involved, but they took it, and then he eliminated him from the Rumble. Priest eliminated Drew from the Rumble, so they've built in some stuff for this. So that promo was great, for storytelling and building and prepping for this, because this is going to be a heck of a feud. Both these superstars are fantastic, so they should be really, really fun.
Yeah, huge fan. Loved it. Next segment, Miz TV. Cody, loved that he comes out, just knocks him out, and it's just like, John, I'll see you next week and Monday.
Yeah, because they're going to be under the same roof. Look out.
Loved it. I thought that was fun. I thought that was quick and easy. Thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good way to get Cody on there. You already had him go a couple minutes on Raw. You don't have to do it again. So just punch out Miz. 1-2 minutes real quick on the mic. Bing, bang, boom. Out the door.
Yes. Fan.
Quick hits.
Yep. Then we get Shinsuke Nakamura talking to Nick Aldis, asking for a rematch. Damian Priest comes and he's like, confronts both of them. And then Shinsuke starts speaking to him in Japanese. And then Damian's like, I don't know what you said, but it sounds like you want to fight. He also said it in Spanish.
Yeah. Okay. So we got that coming up for next week.
No, that happened there.
Was it? That
happened later that night because the disqualification ended up happening. Drew ended up coming out.
It was the DQ. Okay.
Yeah. So awesome. That was good.
So much wrestling. I'm trying to keep matches like straight in my head.
Yeah. No, that happened. Drew came back because remember at that point they were like, he was like, I'm looking for Drew, and he's like, well, as far as I know, he left the building.
Right.
Do with that information what you will, and then obviously he popped back out, Claymored him, cost him the match. Adding more fuel to fire.
Do with that information what you will. You know it. You stop it right now.
Yeah. Then we get Randy, Carmelo Hayes, solid match.
I love these two superstars. So this is Randy Orton's been one of my favorites for decades now, and I'm a big Carmelo guy. So. I know you're not a fan yet. I hope you get on that page, but this great match, and I love both these superstars. Really, really good. Nice to see Orton working with some of the younger talent and everything like that. Like, really, it was good. I like it.
Yeah. No, for me, I thought it was good. Carmelo's definitely, growing on me for sure. This match definitely helped in that direction. So no, I was a fan. I liked it. I really did like it. So he was going to punt them at the end, which I thought was a little crazy. Other than that, pretty good.
Voices are back. The voices are back.
Yeah. So no, but really good. And then obviously we have to have the feel good hometown hero match, which was Gunther and Axiom, which I thought they did such a tremendous job with that. I love how it ended up happening. I love how he came out. I love the energy of that whole match. I like that Gunther, obviously being a heel, he was like, yeah, this is great that we're here in Spain, in Barcelona, but I would have preferred it if we were in Madrid, obviously because there's a rivalry between Real Madrid and Barcelona. So love that. That was really good.
For all the football fans.
See. And then that was good. I liked it. Gunther gets the win. Yeah, pretty good. And then next up we have Paul Heyman cuts the promo about it being Roman Reigns Day because the game came out, and it was okay. I gotta live without it, honestly. I didn't think it was really necessary.
Nothing really else got broached with that. So I mean, the time filling time. Because now SmackDown is fucking 3 hours, so you fill some time somewhere.
Yeah. No, I was okay with it. That was cool. And then finally the match of the night. We get DIY versus the Street Profits for the tag team championships. Yeah, what a surprise, because it was not only such a match, Profits really brought it, really sealed everything up and cleaned the deal at the end, and getting that victory over DIY and making it the third title change, within a week's time frame for WWE.
Yeah. There's been a lot, but this was a great match. I mean, some just absolute fantastic spots from Montez Ford. Just, there was a cross body that was crazy, 450, flip splash, whatever. And then, of course, the frog splash at the end, because as I've said before, that's my dude who should be carrying this move forward, and I said I wanted to see this push happen again and again, and now the Profits got it again, and this tag division is going to just be strengthened and keep fighting, keep going back and forth. But nice to see the Profits get the belt, the gold on them again. Hopefully this can be a lengthy run with some great defense matches. But this was a solid match, and I was happy to see the Profits come in on the winning side of it, because big fan of Montez Ford.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I've been a fan of this heel turn. I've been a fan of their energy and the way that they're going about things, and I feel like it's translated in the ring with their moves and their execution. They definitely deserve to be champions at this point in time. They definitely earned it. But what a way to win, and what a way to do it in Barcelona too, of all places.
Yeah.
I think what I like about this is that, going back to, just to have our final thoughts on this, with everything, especially since we're still on the road to WrestleMania with all the WWE stuff, I truly feel like we don't know what these mid-card titles are going to look like, because obviously the way that they're switching, but not even mid-card, even the heavyweight, right? Because if you want to throw EO in there, we've had so many title changes in less than 2 weeks, and it's pretty awesome. I think that's pretty awesome, because now you're shaking things up. A lot more could happen down in the next few weeks before we get to Mania, or we're going to have this extravagant card for night 1 and night 2. And I just can't wait. I'm excited, and I'm going to keep watching. Yeah.
Keeping us on our toes, and also, keeping rivalries fresh, and you get to do a lot of storytelling when you're moving belts and stuff like that. And, a lot of selling, a lot of revenge things and stuff like that. So yeah, moving these belts now, especially, if you're going to do it, this is the time to do it. It's a Mania season, so that you can because now you have all eyes on you, more so than normal, because a lot of people there are a lot of people who will tune in once they know that the Rumble is coming through to Mania, and then just kind of wait for SummerSlam and then whatever else. So this is the time that they have the most amount of eyes. So just keep doing quick hits and important stuff. And like you said, moving the belts opens up a lot of opportunities for a lot of different people and a lot of different routes to WrestleMania. Absolutely. I think it's going to be a hell of a ride.
Yeah. No, it was fantastic week for wrestling. A lot of exciting stuff. A lot of exciting matches. You know,
it was great. It was great. Now I got to go check out some of the AEW matches and some of the NXT matches because, well, I got through the Raws and the Smackdowns, but I didn't do the TNA. I got to do a couple of TNA matches.
Yeah, man, you got some homework, and you got to watch Ready to Rumble.
And apparently, I got to watch Ready to Rumble, which I will throw on at like 1:30 in the morning when I'm falling asleep, and finish that over the course of like 5 days because I'll watch the first 20 minutes, fall asleep, then next 20.
And they got to restart it. Yeah, I know how that goes.
So. But man, it's great. It's good. It's fantastic. A lot of stuff coming in. A lot of, like you said, we're saturated right now, but this is the time to do it, and everything is good. You know, like the stories make sense. Nothing is boring. You know, when I feel like Hunter does a good job of when he feels something is dragging on, of doing a quick hit and something like that, like kind of keeping a balance there. Where AEW I think is not as good as making that turn if necessary. We'll just stick to the game plan. But yeah, no, great week and you know, a lot of stuff with all those PLEs and everything. Like you were dedicated this week, my man. Hardcore dedication.
Yeah.
Is the hardcore belt behind you in that thing? Because we got to get you the hardcore belt if it's not. If it's not.
Yeah. No, overall, everybody all organizations did a tremendous job. Everything was entertaining. And you know me, I usually don't give props to AEW, but Revolution was fantastic. Like, you know, match wise, performance wise, like everything was good. I know we kind of skipped over Dynamite just in the interest of saving time, but there were some notable things to watch. I did appreciate that after Revolution and those stories closed, they started setting up things for the next, you know, pay-per-view or the next event that they're heading into. So I do appreciate that they're being a little bit more conscious about that. I mean, better late than never. Maybe it's been there the whole time and I just never paid attention. But obviously, like you said, I feel like WWE, even TNA is doing a better job. And maybe that's because of their influence now.
Partnership.
And the partnership.
Yeah,
they have to, like, whatever. But I'm with it. Like you said, it was all fantastic. I loved it. I'm excited. And we're going to keep watching. And we're going to be keep reporting and keep giving our opinions. And as long as you're listening, we're here.
And we appreciate it. Once again, take a moment to thank all of the listeners who take time out of their busy days to sit with us for, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever the time frame may be. We really appreciate it. We really thank you guys so much. If you can just keep sharing and keep doing it, because we want to try and get more listens and just keep this going. We love doing this, and it's very fun for us, very therapeutic for us as well. We get to sit down and chat wrestling and just, enjoy ourselves for a little while, be lost in the moment. So thank you to everyone once again for listening and sharing, and please share. If you know someone who even just likes wrestling, even just a little bit or a smidgen or something, let them know. I think Eddie and I have very soothing voices, and we're kind of an easy listen.
I think so.
So yeah, definitely want to thank all the listeners, and then I also want to take another minute, Eddie. And I know you want to get to some thank yous and everything as well, but I do want to thank CJ and Nikki again for interview episode that we did with them, which will be coming out soon. So I want to thank those guys, gentlemen. Thank you very much if you're listening. We appreciate the time, and thank you kindly for the interview. So yeah.
Muchas gracias, familia. And, I would say more, but honestly, Primo, you really covered it all. So muchas gracias. And you know what to do, brother.
Well, as for always, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you when we see you.
We will see you when we see you. Ciao.
Good night, everybody.